So firstly, what exactly is IT? Happily, there is generally a consensus as to the definition of IT. Whether you go to the Oxford English Dictionary or to Wikipedia, they all seem to agree. And that's a good point at which to start our conversation. Because what can seem like a frighteningly nebulous dark art to some is actually not that ethereal when you start to define it in the cold light of day. So that is to say that IT is the use of computers and other electronic devices to create, manipulate, store and transmit data, often around a network from device to device. So that's nice and easy. The magic, of course, starts to appear when you, as someone working within IT recruitment, begin to look at how technology people actually manage to do all this. Who thinks about how to create that data, how it's stored, and then transmitted across the networks to those devices? And further still, how have these networks and devices themselves evolved into the blisteringly fast and phenomenally intelligent entities that we see around us today? In fact, if you've never thought about this, then this is down to the brilliance with which most of these operations have been carried out. It's due to the seamless and invisible nature of the way today's technology impacts our lives that we don't really bother to stop and think about the how. See, IT permeates so many elements of our everyday existence, but it does it with such subtlety and so surreptitiously that most of us don't even think about the how. But some of us do. And these are the people you are about to recruit within IT. Simply put, today's tech professionals, the type you're going to be recruiting, they commune with inert molecules of silicon and basically make them sing the song of life. There is no industry like this. You don't need reminding that IT impacts every aspect of the world we live in. It pulses through the fibers of our lives, continually evolving and astounding us, enhancing the way we communicate with each other, defining how we can better enjoy our music, watch a movie, or order a meal. It guides us effortlessly on our car journeys, compensating for every wrong turn without so much as a whisper of disdain. In your organization, the IT candidates you are going to be interviewing not only create the digital nervous system for your business, they ensure that you as an organization are using IT as the best tool possible. The magic of what these people do only truly hits home when you stop for a moment and dare to start asking the most simplest of questions. Questions such as how? How are you watching this video clip in glorious color and resonant sound? A clip which I filmed here in my studio in the UK and which may be being streamed to your device on the other side of the planet. How on earth were you able to get that information onto your device so easily, so seamlessly? Where was this video clip before it was beamed across to you? Was it sitting on my home PC? Or have I relinquished it to something much more powerful and capable? Does it sit on the cloud? Or is it in your own company's server? Or here's a thought. Is this clip maybe everywhere at the same time? Ask yourself, what journey did each packet of data have to take so that it could manifest itself ultimately to you as just one specific piece of tiny flickering pixel of light on the screen you're looking at now? Did you know that all those millions of packets of data which you are currently viewing as my video traveled a long and arduous journey to get to you, across not just one network, but across a vast number of different IT networks, just to bring this image to you? They would have crossed different networks run by different countries around the world and hopped across a number of servers, each one asking security questions of every packet of data. 1 million packets of data, like so many little rubber ducks setting off across a huge stormy ocean of information. The moment you clicked that play button. And yet all of these little packets of data got to you. They reassembled themselves in precisely the right order so as to form a movie, a speaking image on your device. And what a device. Regardless of whether it's an iPhone or an Android smartphone, a Google tablet or a Windows PC with which you're viewing this video clip, somehow your device knew exactly what to do when suddenly confronted with these millions of packets of data that were knocking on the door demanding an audience with you. Your phone knew not to just let them in. There was an official protocol that had to be adhered to. There were security questions which needed to be answered. Your device had to be absolutely satisfied as to the nature of these callers and their intentions before finally firing up the perfect application to allow the data packets on board and finally display themselves to you as this video. You can see that when we think about anything to do with IT, especially the type you're going to be recruiting for within your large organization, we rapidly approach the precipice of a very large and deep rabbit hole. But don't worry, that's why I'm here. I'm here to guide you through the whole thing, to point out the things you need to stop and think about and make you aware of the big, important concepts along the journey. And of course, introduce you to those people who make IT work within today's corporate environment. So where to start on your road to credibility as a recruiter within technology? Well, firstly, why don't we clearly define the areas which you will need to become comfortable with as someone in HR, talent acquisition, RPO, or an external recruiter, looking after the technology side of things. From my experience of training thousands of recruiters within the IT industry over 20 years, here are the areas that I know you will need to address. Firstly, you're going to need to have some basic principles and terminology under your belt before you can even begin to discuss IT. You will also need to know the components of a typical corporate IT landscape and be in a position to understand your own internal setup. Of course, you're also going to need to appreciate the roles within IT and how these people actually design, build, and maintain your IT landscape. Finally, you're going to need to build a lexicon that is nicely aligned to theirs so that they feel you are truly someone who actually gets what they do. Remember, the IT people you speak to generally love what they do, and their career is a passion and usually a lifestyle to them. And you will get much more out of them in interviews and conversations if you make them realize that you know what they're about. And that's what we're going to do with this program as we progress. We are going to firstly lay out a very simple model of IT, which you can pretty much apply to any situation to help you clarify. Now that actually might be your first big surprise. The idea that IT can be thought of in a simple way, that's going to be a huge epiphany for you. We're going to use that model to open up the basic concepts and terminology which you'll need to become familiar with. Technological concepts such as cloud, big data, business intelligence, and networking. Don't worry, we won't get too technical too quickly. Just technical enough to sound impressive when discussing technology on CVs and job descriptions. I know why you're here. We're going to explore the IT department and we're going to get to grips with the different silos within IT. These are the groups of people you recruit within their own IT specialisms. We're going to work our way through these individual roles and start to appreciate what each of these people actually do, their backgrounds, their qualifications, and the tools they use. Everyone from project managers to the database team. We'll also be introduced to concepts such as waterfall, agile, and DevOps. And finally, to round off your knowledge, we'll take a dip into the evolving technologies as well and show you how the landscape is shaping up as we move into the future. So we'll touch on things like artificial intelligence, blockchain, IoT, and edge technology. So now that we have our path nicely mapped out, why don't we dive into the first all-important section and take a look at that simple model of IT. Follow me.